Here we have a question which requires us to find out the minimum possible value of a function. So let's just quickly understand on what basis do we find out the minimum value and what should be the process. Let me just represent a very simple way. We know that fn is equal to twice of n square minus 7n plus 8. So if we have to minimize it, we have to just reduce the biggest possible part to as small as possible. So I'm just going to write it as fn is equal to 2 taken common n square minus 7 by 2n and then plus 8. Alright, so I've just taken 2 common out of the first two parts. Now my job is to make it a square of something. That means I want to convert it into an expression which is of the form, let's say a minus b whole square, so that it becomes a square minus 2ab minus plus b square format. So I have to just understand what do we have to multiply here, what do we have to add and subtract here. So I'm going to write it further as 2 times of, now n square remains as it is, minus 2 times of 7 by 4 n. Now see, this is exactly the same, and plus 7 by 4 whole square and then minus 7 by 4 whole square, just to balance it. So what I've done here is I have added the same number as I have subtracted. Why did I do that? Because my job was simply to make it of this format. Now what we see here is that now I've been able to convert it into the format that I wanted to achieve. So this becomes fn is equal to 2 times of, can I write it, n minus 7 by 4 whole square, and then I can write it as, now I am taking this part out of this bracket now, so this becomes negative 2 times of 49 divided by 16 plus 8. Now the question is that we have to minimize it. Now in order to minimize it, this part should be as small as possible, and this part can never be negative because it is a square of something. So the minimum possible value of this entire part can be equal to 0 when n is equal to 7 by 4. Now, which means finally we are left out with fn is equal to, fn minimum is equal to 0 minus 49 by 8 plus 8, which I'm going to now simplify, minus 49 plus 64, whole thing divided by 8. Now we get 15 divided by 8, and what is the minimum possible value of n if n is an integer? So this is the minimum possible value, which is approximately 1.8 or 9 sort of, right? Now that means the minimum value cannot be less than that, since it has to be an integer, so it has to be certainly greater than that. So fn minimum and integer, the minimum integer possible value has to be 1.8 or greater. That means it becomes minimum equal to 2, and therefore our answer to this question becomes option B. I hope you enjoyed this entire process of understanding how to minimize a function such as this. I reiterate at the end that first of all we have to just convert it in the form of a plus b whole square or a minus b whole square, so that the part which is always non-negative can be reduced to its minimum possible value, which is 0. And now we have also been able to arrive that the minimum result of this function will be achieved at n equal to 7 by 4. I hope you enjoyed the explanation. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe the channel, because your subscription and your following the channel helps it reach to the maximum audience. Thank you so much.